test when I'm presenting. There we go. And we'll just share screen. Um, okay. And so this is this was the working uh, kind of area. So just to give you like an example, if I come over here and zoom in, if I have like the relevant plans and I make it a frame and then I make it a connection to the next page, which would be like a relevant plans page. When I go to present, it will only show the relevant plans button. It won't show it on the page itself.
Okay, that's because it's a frame and not a rectangle. So in Figma, when you present, it will present each individual frame. So for the Red Rocks homepage, that should be a frame. A frame's like a container.
Mhm.
And then you put like rectangles and text inside the frame, if that makes sense.
So this is what we ended up turning in before we knew it didn't need to be. Um, and I made the whole thing a frame. And so when I presented it, oh, let me just move this over. It's going to take 1 second. The screen. Um, we just kind of did it like that. And then it would have been. So if it sounds like what you're saying is that I need to do a rectangle on top of the frame.
Inside the frame. So the layers section is kind of nested, so anything nested inside a frame is going to show up. Do you think you could go back to the workspace?
Trying to figure out how to do that. Right. Oh, there. Okay. Go back. Oh, I think it's behind. Sorry, it's the overlay.
It's
It's
just
kind
the
of
other
getting in the
tab.
way. Yeah. No, the tab was hidden beneath the presentation um,
Yeah.
banner. So, um, so like if I go back to screens, so like here, I would just come down here, open a rectangle. Oops, do a rectangle inside of the frame itself, and then I'll just place it.
The thing you want to make sure is that it's inside Red Rock's homepage. So, you see that left-hand menu, like the big bar with your title. Yep. And then if you go down under pages, it says layers.
Mhm.
So there's that's the main frame, and then there's a drop-down menu, and everything under the drop-down menu is going to show up in that frame. So if it isn't under that drop-down menu, it won't show up. That makes sense. So just make sure the rectangle is
Is
in that
there.
frame. Yeah.
Okay. And so that's good. Okay, that seems like the main thing that I had questions about. The rest of it was pretty easy to kind of cut and paste. Let me go back here. Any questions? Yep, so I'll play around with that and make sure that I have the rectangle nested within the frame and that it's listed correctly on the side menu. Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Nothing off the top of my head. That was just like the main thing I ran into. Um, I might have like one or two questions just to kind of pick your brain for a second, like not necessarily Figma related. I think that our prototype is gonna was intentionally gonna keep a lot of what was already in place and just kind of simplify it and add the things that were needed, like the search bar, maybe a filter option, and maybe drop down menus on the navigation bar. But one thing I was personally kind of thinking when we were brainstorming and looking at it, is the setup itself. Would it having a setup of just being like, actually, let me go to the PPI. Instead of having like natural resources, recreation, tourism, and those kind of defining parameter pages, I kind of thought maybe just having one for water, one for fire, one for wildlife, and one for socioeconomic data and planning. Like having those categories separately might make sense, but I figured there's a reason why they have the breakdown the way they do, and I wanted to just ask a little bit about that.
So for the target users, when they're coming on the data hub, they're either working on a project in conservation or recreation. So conservation, conserving natural resources like watersheds are a part of that. Endangered species are a part of that. And then recreation, like designing trails and that sort of thing. They specifically put those in those buckets just because there's a little bit more that does go in under natural resources and recreation. For example, natural resources would also have land agency, which is kind of land ownership, which is super important when building plans for both conservation and recreation. Recreation I saw has also some like outdoor industry market data too inside
Yeah.
its.
And I was like, because that was kind of the thing when we were looking at it. It's like, well, why is the socioeconomic stuff inside recreation and tourism
Yeah.
and not in socioeconomic? But we figured that there was a lot that we weren't privy to when it was built, like especially as far as like the users, like you're saying. Yeah, because it has the industries. Where was the one that I was specifically looking at? Because like the economic analysis. To me, that
Yeah.
would be socioeconomic,
Yeah.
because of
They
just
move
how
that
I,
vegan?
Yeah, you could definitely move that. If there's resources in under one section that you think is more socioeconomic, like the Bureau economic data, you could definitely suggest moving that, reorganizing it. The
Hmm.
big issue for the data hub is the disorganization.
Yeah, I was gonna
People
say
just,
this is something
yeah.
you can move around for sure. Is there, and I like that, I like Kelly's like conceptually or her idea of simplifying it like, with like the labeling of fire, water, and endangered species. I don't think it belongs on the primary nav personally, but I don't know if you, Eden, just because you're more familiar with all of the information and the intricacies and the relationships here. Is there a spot where that user group or that persona would go that simplified, like, in a drop down menu, that like quick labeling like that might facilitate the flow? What are your thoughts on that?
You could definitely put that like under the natural resource page, like either as a drop down. I know a drop down menu could be made, or you could make it like as different sections on the page as well. Like here's everything related to water, and
Here's
here's
everything related to, yeah.
the
I
fire
Kelly,
was
can
shit.
you click in
toying,
natural resources?
yeah, I was toying with the three column setup where like the left column would be fire, the middle column would be water, and the right column would just be
Hmm.
wildlife and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
this,
Yeah, because the way it's stacked like that right now is not
because there's a lot
ideal.
of water stuff. Oh, I touched my touch screen. And then there's the fire stuff was up at the beginning, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's some other stuff down here. And I know this has changed a little bit over even the past 3 months, from I think from what it looked like the first time I looked at it. So I know it's
In
still kind of,
research.
yeah, I think it's still uh kind of being tweaked a little bit. But I thought that would make sense on a surface level, maybe a column for each. That way you could just go, I need to see a fountain's watershed, and you would just go to the middle column and look down. Um, but there's the little things about like what Eden was saying. Plan like the people that are planning a trail, they might need all three in different formats, and the
Mm.
socioeconomic stuff they would want in a certain area. So I'm trying not to mess with things too much. It just seems like it would be
I
from
think
someone
you
who
I
doesn't
think you
use
should
it.
mess with them
Yeah.
personally. I mean, they're
Yeah.
looking for you to mess with them. Don't, I mean, they don't like the way it looks right now for a reason. I mean, it's pretty awkward. So if you have like, drastic departure from what things look like right now, but you believe that it serves the user, by all means, design that and go that direction with your IA for sure.
Because I think just doing even just a 3 column or 4 column format, so you could just look all in one area and just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll talk to my
Try
group
it.
about that. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I
Okay.
love that. I think
That's
that's the kind of
exciting.
way you want to think for sure, Kelly. I'm glad you asked that question.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then is there anything else that you want us to specifically keep in mind other than what you've already provided us in the resources?
No, I feel like you guys have so much
Yeah.
information.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a data heavy project for sure. So, I think, and I don't know if Eden will add to this, like it's just so much about can you organize the information so it's better and it's consistent and it's more accessible. Like think IA first, like organization of information first, and
Okay.
don't be afraid to really change that up, which maybe since you're asking that question, it isn't clear in the content. Like maybe it feels like you need to have a more conservative approach to that. But I think, I don't know, Eden, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think you guys are looking for, like we were just saying, like creative solutions to that.
Yeah, definitely. I was talking to Matt and he was saying, "Oh my gosh, so many students like GIS students just came in and just kept adding stuff, like all their own things and it just kind of
It's like
built
a,
up."
it's like a monster.
Yeah, I think
So.
everybody that had the first class this semester is maybe a little bit gun shy because half of us use the wrong client at the beginning. And so it's like
You
we
mean
want a
the
lot of
wrong user,
reassurance.
Kelly?
Yes, the wrong users. Like we had the wrong personas. And then we did the wrong tests based off of the wrong personas. And so it
Yeah.
kind of makes us a little bit more nervous than we might have been if we had.
Yeah, and can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what do you mean, like nervous, like that you might get it wrong again? Or, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Just so we can maybe help you out.
Because it's for someone and not just a grade,
Yes.
it makes us want to achieve their goals. They've invested a lot of time into the partnership, and we don't want to let them down. So I think that's a big part of it. And then for those of us who were on teams that made those early mistakes, um,
Hmm.
we don't want to do a repeat.
Yeah. I get that. I hear that. I love that you guys are invested in it. And I think that it will serve you outside of the class to have a real project like this. And so that pressure is kind of intense, but I think it's going to pay off and ripple effects long after the class is over for you. So it's a good thing. Obviously, I'm sure you see that to some degree. As far as the early mistakes, I feel like the biggest mistakes that could have been made in this project were to have the wrong user group in mind and to have tasks that were not in alignment with critical functions. And I do feel like that has been explicitly communicated and you guys recognize that. And I think that that guides the focus and direction of your design. And then what's a little bit different with design versus research is that now it's sort of this like, there's this element of creativity, creative problem solving that is very unique and individualized. And it's not necessarily wrong, as long as you are designing for client and user objectives, which you probably have a pretty good understanding of those at this time
Mm.
and that you're trying to facilitate those those flows. And so I think I hear you. You're like, oh, we're afraid to take risks a little bit because of that. But try
But what,
not to let it get in your way. Try to, like I think I've said at some points in the class, like, really thinking outside of the box or iterating a lot in the beginning or allowing yourself to have a lot of different ideas and options. Like you need to have that like open flexibility in your mind that can't come from a fear place. And so try to not try to push it aside. The clients are going to love aspects of what you do, if not the entire thing, no matter what, because it's UX based and it's research driven and it's like cohesive and you're looking at the whole thing, which like Eden has said, like nobody really has done that. I mean, it's been a lot of like piecemeal up until then. So what you bring is of value no matter what. So I don't know if that helps you feel a little better. I don't know, Eden, if you want to like piggyback off of
Yeah.
that at all.
You had to jump in. They
Yeah.
do know that this is an academic exercise, and those kind of mistakes are definitely a part of the process.
Hmm.
And you recognize that, and now you're on track. And from your prototype, it does look on track to what
Hmm.
they're looking for. So you don't have to worry too much
Don't
about
worry
like
as much. Yeah.
changing it up or anything. They do want it to be changed and to be better and to hear your creative solutions. Like they're very into that. So this is definitely more of just a learning experience that you could put on your resume and you can talk about those issues like in an interview and that sort of thing, but you problem solved and you figured it out.
Yes, yes. And you were willing to take those risks. And like in the real world, like you can end up scrapping an entire design and having to start over. And that's just the way it is. Like mistakes are made, we think the user group wants this, and then we test it and it doesn't work, even though it should have worked in theory. And then you have to scrap it and start over. And like, yeah, it's in the mistakes that some of the most valuable like discoveries and lessons are found. And so, yeah, I guess just to add to that. So,
okay. That,
yeah.
that definitely helps. Thank you.
Yeah, we want to see that. It doesn't have to be perfect in order for it to be good for this opportunity. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks for coming in, Kelly, and asking your question and voicing what probably a lot of students are feeling. And, maybe they will watch this and they'll be like, yeah, I feel empowered. And that's a great gift to give to the rest of the class. So I appreciate you doing that. Any final questions before we wrap?
No, just thank you for answering my questions and encouraging me. And see you guys soon.
Next week. Yes, we'll see. I'm so excited. I don't know about you, but I'm so excited to see prototypes next week.
Me
Like,
too.
like in their like presentation view and like see, people's aesthetics and functions come together. It'll be fun on Wednesday and maybe some people will come on Friday next week too. So all right. Well, thanks again, everybody. I'm going to close the meeting so that then this downloads the recording and then I'll post it to the content next to the one I posted on Wednesday, which is like midway down, module 7 under Explore and Learn. And yeah, Kelly and anybody else in the class, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Eden or Eden through me. We'll
Mhm.
answer any questions you guys have as you finish up the class over the next couple of weeks. So, all
Okay,
right.
awesome.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a good weekend.
You too.
As
Thanks.
well. Bye.
Bye.